13 brave men and women from all across the country, as young as 20 years old, made the ultimate sacrifice. You met with Biden over the weekend. How did that go?
Well, initially I wasn't going to meet with him, but then I felt I owed it to my son to at least have some words with him about how I felt. And it didn't go well. He talked a bit more about his own son than he did my son, and that didn't sit well with me.
In reference to the checking of his watch, that didn't happen just once. That happened on every single one that came out of that airplane. It happened on every single one of them. They would release the salute, and he looked down at his watch on every last one, all 13. He looked down at his watch.
Did you notice the same thing?
Yes, I did. I actually leaned into my son's mother's ear and I said, I swear to God, if he checks his watch one more time, and that was only probably 4 times in, I couldn't look at him anymore after that.
Some of the Gold Star families have criticized the president's conduct at the dignified transfer. There was a father of one Marine who said that the president appeared to be checking his watch every time a flag-draped transfer case came out of the plane. And a sister of another Marine said that it felt like a fake and scripted apology. Was the president looking at his watch, and does he have a message to those people who felt that they were offended?
Well, I would say his message to all of the family members who were there, those who were not even in attendance, is that he is grateful to their sons and daughters, the sacrifice they made to the country.
He knows firsthand what it's like to lose a child.
And the fact that no one can tell you anything or say anything, or there's no words that are going to fill that hole that is left by that.
He's not going to speak to, and I'm not going to speak to, the private conversations.
Of course, they have the right to convey whatever they would like. But I will tell you, from spending a lot of time with him over the past couple of days, that he was deeply impacted by these family members who he met just 2 days ago.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
4 days ago, 5 days ago. Still a lot of pandemonium outside the airport.
Well, there is, but look, but no one's being killed right now. God forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but no one's being killed right now.
I actually declined the meeting with the president. We went to a different room. When he came, we went to a separate room. I had no desire to meet with the president. The way he has handled this, everything he's done, every step along the way has been absolutely backwards. And I don't understand the process of how they came to the decisions that they made. A high school kid could make better decisions than they've made in this.
I chose to stay with my brother's wife. She wanted the chance to look him in the eye and see if it was going to be a sincere conversation or apology. And I was able to stand about 15 seconds of his fake scripted apology, and I had to walk away. He would not look us in the eye. There was not an ounce of sympathy looking at his face. It was he tapped her on the knee and said, "I know what you're going through. I lost my son."
It was more about his son. My son wasn't mentioned. It was his son and about him, and nothing to do with the 13.
Maybe it's because my deceased son, Bo, served in Iraq for a full year. Before that, well.
Going back to the president's meeting with the families at Dover yesterday, the sister of one of the Marines killed in the airport attack told the Post that the president's comments struck her family as scripted and shallow, and she said, quote, You can't F up as bad as he did and say you're sorry. This did not need to happen, and every life is on his hands. So, can you talk a little bit about how the president thought the meeting with the families went, and also what responsibility, if any, for these deaths does he think he bears?
Well, I think the president made clear, as the Secretary of State and our National Security Advisor made clear, that we're all responsible, and they feel a responsibility, and the buck stops with the president. And I think you heard him say that on Thursday when he spoke to the loss of life of these servicemen and women shortly after it had happened.
Say hi. Hey. We friends? We friends? 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 Yeah? Friends. Friends.
It was just basically so chaotic and not really planned out. Now, I'm a carpenter, and even I could spot that with my untrained military eye.
Kathy, Colorado, you're on the Will Count Majority. Hello.
Hey, my son was one of the Marines that died yesterday. And to listen to that. Sorry, I'm on the radio.
No. Go ahead.
My son was one of the Marines that died yesterday. 20 years and 6 months old, getting ready to come home from frickin' Jordan to be with his wife to watch the birth of his son. And that feckless, dementia-ridden piece of crap just sent my son to die. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning to Marines at my door telling me my son was dead. So to have her on right before me and listen to that piece of crap talk about diplomatic crap with freaking Taliban terrorists who just freaking blew up my son and know nothing, to not say anything about, oh my God, I'm so sorry for the families. So my son is gone.
I would say first that no one is placing blame here. All right. Well, I would say I think the president's been pretty clear that we all had an expectation that the Afghan National Security Forces would fight harder in the end, would fight against the Taliban. We all had an expectation that President Ghani would not flee the country. Those were not expectations that were clearly met.
I made the decision. The buck stops with me. I am president of the United States. The buck stops with me. And I made it clear to them, the buck stops with me. The last point I'll make is this. Look, the buck stops with me.
You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban. Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, the best of your knowledge? What?
I don't think that the issue is, do you think that people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, will the United States be responsible for the loss of Afghan civilian lives that could happen after the military exit?
No.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
Mr. President, do you trust the Taliban, Mr. President?
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped, as well equipped as any army in the world. and an Air Force against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable.
You trust the Taliban, Mr. President? You trust the Taliban, sir?
Is that a serious question?
It's absolutely a serious question. You trust the Taliban?
No, I do not.
Over the country to the Taliban.
No, I do not trust the Taliban.
So why are you handing the country over?
Is the U.S. responsible for the death that happened to Afghans after you leave?
Mr. President, will you amplify that question, please? Will you amplify your answer, please, why you don't trust the Taliban?
It's a silly question. Do I trust the Taliban? No. But I trust the capacity of the Afghan military, who is better trained, better equipped, and more competent in terms of conducting war.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Your own intelligence community has assessed that the Afghan government will likely collapse.
That is not true.
Can you please clarify what they have told you about whether that will happen or not?
That is not true. They did not reach that conclusion.
So what is the level of confidence that they have that it will not collapse?
The Afghan government and leadership has to come together. They clearly have the capacity to sustain the government in place. The question is, will they generate the kind of cohesion to do it? It's not a question of whether they have the capacity. They have the capacity. They have the forces. They have the equipment. The question is, will they do it? And I want to make clear what I made clear to Ghani, that we are not going to walk away and not sustain their ability to maintain that force. We are. We're going to also work to make sure we help them in terms of everything from food necessities and other things in the region. But there is not a conclusion that, in fact, they cannot defeat the Taliban.
Mr. President, some Vietnamese veterans see echoes of their experience in this withdrawal in Afghanistan. Do you see any parallels between this withdrawal and what happened in Vietnam, with some people feeling?
None whatsoever. Zero. What you had entire brigades breaking through the gates of our embassy. 6, if I'm not mistaken. The Taliban is not the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan. It is not at all comparable.
That he shouldn't have made those assumptions about the Afghan government. Is that the lesson for him then?
Well, I think most people made that assumption, but I don't have any more for you.
I only ask that because he said that the U.S. should learn from their mistakes, but if there's
right, and he laid out clearly what he thinks they are over the past 20 years. So the president was walking into that circumstance. He wanted to leave Afghanistan. It's a war he has long felt we needed to depart from. He's felt that was long overdue. But that was the circumstance he walked into, and frankly, there's a little bit of selective memory loss from some of the people who served in the last administration about these circumstances.
Well, first of all, the mission hasn't failed yet.
I don't think it could have been handled without chaos ensuing.
We completed one of the biggest airlifts in history, with more than 120,000 people evacuated to safety. That number is more than double what most experts thought were possible. No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. Only the United States had the capacity and the will and the ability to do it, and we did it today. The extraordinary success of this mission and I ask that you join me now in a moment of silence for all those in uniform and out of uniform, military and civilian, who have given the last full measure of devotion. Thank you. May God bless you all, and may God protect the troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn. So thank you very much, and thank you, Commissioner. I really think it all works. I'm not supposed to take any questions, but go ahead.
Mr. President, on Afghanistan?
I'm not going to answer Afghanistan now.
Can you give me still
Okay. And I have another meeting for real.